No, but I'm not sure. I'm telling you what I think where we have a very serious problem that is emerging. Why are the Palestinians doing this? Mahmoud Abbas actually wrote an article on May 16th in the New York Times, and he explained the motivation. He says he wants to wage a, let's call it a legal war, a legal struggle against Israel in international fora. In other words, this move on the part of Mahmoud Abbas is not to somehow level the playing field and make it easier for the Palestinians to negotiate with Israel. To the contrary, it's to open a whole new door of going to the International Criminal Court, the ICJ.
What are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of international law?
Violence. No, I want us to make peace.
Why are you afraid of international law?
We're not afraid of international law, but you can load up the entire international legal system with complaints. Most of them will be thrown out because they are probably baseless. I saw that in Gaza personally. But this is not the way to make peace.
Okay.
And what we need to do, as I said before, just sit down with us. You sat down with every prime minister, with Rabin, with Peres, with Barak, with Olmert. Sit down with us. You sat down with Bibi Netanyahu just as well in 1996. Sit down with us. Don't go to the UN. You're tying up the whole international community on a useless step that will only create complications for you and for us.
Can I ask you how much support there is within the Palestinian leadership for this? I haven't heard a single comment in favour of this from your Prime Minister Salam Fayyad.
Oh, come on, man.
Is he in favour of it?
I am, of course now he is in favour of this. At the
beginning, he hasn't said so.
He made a statement. No, he made a statement
saying what?
That he retracted several times in my presence and outside. He made a statement saying that what we need in the final analysis is not only the recognition of 192 countries, we need the recognition of one country which occupies our land.
But he simply does not think that this is a sensible move. What he is about is about building a Palestinian state on the ground.
Look, he is not in charge of our political decision.
But he's one of your most respected politicians internationally.
No. He is a respected prime minister whose role, which has been very successful, is to run the security and the economic affairs. He is not the political decision maker.
But he thinks this is a bad idea.
I don't think Mahmoud Abbas wanted to do this either.
He didn't. But people have to negotiate, have to talk. Even people within their own family have to talk about their future strategic plans. And now I think he's fully convinced that you can talk to him. Raise the phone now and call him.
Why do you think he's changed his mind?
Because he saw the reasons behind it. He saw the advantages it could reap. He saw the limited cost that it would pay.
Well,
and let me tell you, Israel had accepted the fact that there is an independent Palestinian state in all our agreements. The PLO is the interlocutor of the Israelis. When we signed with Israel, there were 88 countries that would have full embassies for us.
Well, it's interesting that you talk about the PLO. There are lots of people, your friends, who say now by making this precipitate move to the United Nations, you're actually going to be stuffing up the chances of the Palestinian refugees whom the PLO is supposed to represent.
Yeah, this is silly because...
What do you say? It's silly. This is senior legal advice that you've had.
I know. This is the state of the Palestinian people who is been declared by the PLO. It's the PLO that made birth to the state in 1988. It is the PLO that formed the PA inside Palestine. It is the PLO, is the Palestinian Authority that will run that state, but that state is the ownership of all the Palestinians.
Dore Gold, can I just ask more broadly?
Yes, please.
Do you not feel that you are on, whether you think this is the right move or not, you are on the wrong side of the debate? The point is, the vast majority of the world believes that it's time now for a viable Palestinian state. Israel is standing in the way.
You know, Prime Minister of Israel said he's ready for a Palestinian state.
Well, define that Palestinian state. It's one without control of borders, without control of the electromagnetic spectrum.
Let me specifically give you the Israeli view, which I'm here for. So if you just bear with me for a moment. We withdrew from the Gaza Strip in 2005. This affects very much how Israelis look at the future of the West Bank. We withdrew. It was a unilateral withdrawal, but it was coordinated with Mahmoud Abbas. He sent a Palestinian general there to make sure there wouldn't be rocket fire while we withdrew. Now, wouldn't you expect that if you withdraw from territory the Palestinians say is part of their state, that rocket fire should diminish, should drop? It increased from 2005 from 179 to almost 900.
Without going through that, I know it's important as far as Israel is concerned, but how do you define a future Palestinian state?
If we withdrew from the Gaza Strip and we got a 500% increase in rocket fire on Israeli cities, and everybody has seen this on BBC, CNN, and all the television networks. You've seen it. How can we be certain that this won't happen in the West Bank? That is why we need a negotiation with the Palestinians directly to talk about security issues. If they say, too bad, we're deciding at the UN that the lines will be the 67 lines which all our leaders have said are indefensible, Rabin, Sharon, Dayan, then, you know, what's there left to talk about?
Can I ask both of you, we're hearing from both of you passionately and in some detail many of the arguments that we've heard over the past decades, to be frank, around Israel and Palestinians at the moment. There is this thing called the Arab Spring. Are you not afraid, Nabil Shaf, to begin with you, that one of the currents that we've seen from the Arab Spring is that, frankly, the tired old leaderships have ended up being swept away by public disaffection? Are you not afraid that actually the Palestinians might well do that to you?
Oh, that'd be a pleasure, believe me. The question of democracy is a question that is important to Palestinians much more than it is to anybody else. And the Arab Spring is a validation, really, is a vindication of the Palestinians' quest for self-determination and for democracy. But there's tremendous
disillusion on the Palestinian street as to how their leaders have looked after them.
Has come because the peace process so far has not really ended occupation. Because they have been 20 years after we signed Oslo and we are still under occupation. Every inch of Palestine
and you're not
is
going
still
back to
under
negotiations.
Occupation. We will go back to negotiations if there is a limited chance that it will succeed. And that cannot happen is while we discuss land for peace, land is being taken from us piece by piece. We cannot really anymore. We did it at one time. Mr. Gold refers to a time when there was hope, during the Rabin time when we felt that we might, in fact, in 3 years finish everything. But now in 20 years, we are still fully occupied.
Dore Gold, is there not the chance, I know that there's a lot of uncertainty in Israel about what's happening around them regionally, but that just by hunkering down, actually, you're going to make the worst of all worlds, that it's up to you now to make the weather, rather than simply fold your arms and say no?
The ultimate responsibility of any serious democratic government in the West, and actually anywhere in the world, is to protect the lives of its civilians. Now, what is happening with the Arab Spring, for us, there's a positive side. I would like to see the Arab world democratic so that Arab leaders don't have to wave the Israel card to win legitimacy instead of providing real services to their people and winning support at the ballot box.
But those new Arab leaders are sounding all the more concerned about what's happening with Israel and the Palestinians.
Now, what is happening, I don't think you're getting anything new on that issue. They're focused inwardly. The problem is that we're getting a tremendous amount of instability. Do we know who's going to lead Syria in 6 months from now? Do we know who's going to lead Saudi Arabia in 2 years from now? Do we know what's going to happen to Iraq after the Americans and the British have completed their withdrawal? Will it become a new Arab democracy of accountable government, or will it become simply a satellite of Shiite Iran? Because we don't know, certain security elements are important to keep the Jewish people alive.
Okay.
And, excuse me, that is why we need to sit with the Palestinians. We will put the security issue first. It's difficult, but we're ready to do it tomorrow.
Dore Gold, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you very much for coming on to Hard Talk. And Nabil Shaf, thank you for coming on to Hard Talk.